interwebs. It's me. I feel so far away from you. Anywho. Alright, here we are in the crazy backness of
probably the most open it's been in a while.
Faces and the funnies. Look at all this fun stuff. Well, you can't because you're a stationary camera. But if you could, you would be like, wow.
So many beautiful and inappropriate things.
Yeah, so many horrifyingly disturbing little anime statues all staring at me. It's like a cross between a horror film and like snuff porn. I don't know. All those horror movies like to have dolls coming up. There are probably people who'd love to be killed by living anime dolls.
I'd be surprised if there wasn't a horror movie.
It's got to be a
that.
subgenre somewhere. There's a convention for it. I don't know.
Making me think of, what was it, Dead Silent with the
People
ventriloquist dummies?
With their weirdness that makes me feel well adjusted. Alright, let's review some comical books. What do you think, Totally Awesome Hulk? I think you should stop talking to Styrofoam and review some comical books. Good idea. Alright, first up. This is my review for this book.
No 20-minute rant this time.
So, I'll do a 50-minute rant if I'll do what I want.
I'll throw things at you.
This episode will be entirely called Seb Gushes over Superman number 11. 11, which has always been my favorite number, not for any actual reason, just because I like to say 11. So, yeah, that was how they hooked me. I didn't even need to read the plot of Stranger Things. It was wait, there's someone with powers named 11?
Done.
I'm in. I don't know why. Whenever people have asked me anything where, well, how many, my answer's always been 11. My students, I got a question for you. Like, the answer's 11. It's not a numbers question. Don't care. That's 11. My answer. It's 11. So,
moving on.
So number 11 comes out, and it's the second part of the Super Sons prelude, the In the Name of the Father, World's Smallest. The gauntlet has been set. Superboy, Jonathan, and Damian are sent out to earn back their icons. They don't have their emblems and their stuff. They've been stripped of the mantles, Superboy and Robin, and they have to earn it back by working together. Of course, they absolutely refuse to work together until the appearance of their parents of their dads being in trouble, and then they team up and prove that they are a badass team. But immediately prove, once things go back to normal, that they need to be distracted from themselves and each other in order to team up.
Much like most.
So basically, for at least a while before they, start to come together, their series that starts in February is basically going to be a never-ending play on the typical heroes meet, heroes don't get along and fight, heroes team up to stop bad guy. Only this will be, they have a zero learning curve. Which for someone who teaches where I teach, that's perfectly plausible. As always, art and story, gorgeous. This is, even just now, there was someone getting rung up at the store. Their son there's a guy buying comics for his son, who is stationed in Hawaii right now. He's in the military, and he's like, Dad, look, I have to drop some titles. I don't have room for storing them anymore. And he buys everything with an S on it, so he was dropping a handful of titles, but he was like, which of the Superman books should I keep? And me and Sean, my former co-host, from another show on another network.
In another time, on another dimension, on another planet.
It's like Earth 13 or something. Earth 11. So we're at the red, and the two of us were like, you want to keep Superman. We were like, Action Comics is really good. Superman, though, was the best of the books. And that's what the guy kept. He got all the Superman. This book, it's great. The idea of, a Superboy and a Robin teaming up is not new. The idea of teen heroes is not new. Legacy is not new. But this is so just fresh and genuine. And you know those books that people always say, well, you can tell that the creative team is having a blast and that they enjoy with it. It's all there. This is so much heart and so good. And there was a nice pacing change. I mean, we just came off of a 6-issue storyline, and then we did a boom, done in 2, that'll also set up what's coming in February. Super Sons isn't even out yet, and it's already my favorite comic. From Dynamite, from James Robinson and Tom Feister, we have Grand Passion. This is the worst combination of Romeo and Juliet meets a heist, and by worst, I mean the book is great. I mean, for the characters, this is the worst combination of a Romeo and Juliet heist that you could possibly have. We have a Bonnie and Clyde team that goes around robbing banks, but when they get to this one small town, the new, also from out of town, sheriff, who ends up involved in the shootout where he kind of kills the Clyde half of the Bonnie and Clyde team. But when the two of them meet, their eyes meet across the way, and he just, hey, I just shot your boyfriend, and
so I guess they're free tonight.
They're instantly in love, but she's got a pact. That was not just her lover; that was her partner. So, yeah, he's got to die. It's got it's like noir yet light yet I'm not even sure. It's such a, there are little pieces taken from various genres, but the pieces together make their own picture. It was so good. Originally I had joked when I got this book last week, and last week was also Tom Feister's birthday, and I had told him on Facebook that save me a piece of cake, and I will, do you right by this. He didn't save me any cake, and he doesn't really know me. So I do have a signed picture from him in my Beatles Nest office, because he did the wraparound cover to the Tomorrow's Blue Beetle handbook, Blue Beetle guidebook, and it's got Dan Garrett, Ted Kord, and Jaime all on the cover, and he signed it and did a little head sketch of Ted Kord over the signature. So yeah, of course, why the hell do you think I like the guy? But it also turns out, even when he's not drawing Blue Beetle, I can still really enjoy his artwork. Who knew? Because once people stop drawing Ted Kord, I tend to just lose interest in everything. Breathing, existence, you know how it is. He also draws a mean $100 bill, and to draw a $100 bill that is still comic book stylized yet looks like a $100 bill, like an actual $100 bill, and not like someone just drew a piece of paper with a money sign on, is a bitch and a half. I know this from back when I thought I was going to be a comic artist, before I decided I would be a comic writer, because of things like drawing $100 bills. There's boobies. Anson can read it. It's so good. Check it out. I like weird heist and weird detective stories. I don't know why.
You are a bizarre individual.
Yeah, I am a bizarre individual, but I like the quirky ones. I'll read, like the real, those gritty detectives, but I like the ones that are kind of somewhere between Ocean's 11 and,
Dirk Gently,
that kind of stuff. The Amazing Spider-Man 21. It's old enough to drink. It was old enough, so I drank it. Amazing Spider-Man, Clone Conspiracy tie-in. This issue, only very briefly, features Amazing Spider-Man, and most of the time, he's from different Earths. This is what's been going on with Kane. Kane came to after having been left by the spirit of the other, the spider that gives all the spider deity that gives all the powers. But as a result of him leaving, it turns out he's got the carrion virus. He's basically breaking down like so many clones do. And he's trying to find a cure for it, and this is what ties into how he ended up in the situation he and Spider-Gwen were in the main Clone Conspiracy book. And the way he got into this situation is he and the Weaver have been going back and forth to different worlds trying to find a cure, and it turns out he hasn't found a cure yet, but he has found out that in every world it starts, the carrion virus starts with Parker Industries. So whatever it is, clearly it's going to tie into whether it's a planned or accidental effect of Jackal's new cloning. We're not sure. Infamous Iron Man, number 2. Ben Grimm, he's been back on Earth 2 minutes, and he's like he's the Fantastic One. He's a member of he's an agent of S.H.I.E.L.D., and he's a stranded Guardian of the Galaxy. So it's a busy yet and hectic life for Benjamin J. Grimm. But in this issue, he is on the trail of a Doom is humbled and really trying to do the right thing. And they say no good deed goes unpunished. Dr. Doom probably faces more punishment in this issue while he's trying to do the right thing than he has in his entire career of, stealing cosmic cubes and beyonder powers and taking over universes.
Powers of the Panther God.
Yeah,
Like he do.
He's a busy guy. That Doom. He's had his fingers in a lot of pies. I can't quite place who he reminds me of art-wise. But yeah, I'm very much digging the Dr. Doom as Iron Man. Because you know what? There's currently no Fantastic Four, so really, my perfect time to try something new with Dr. Doom, because, he's like, oh shit, there's no Reed Richards to fight. Did I really want to take over the world, or did I just like fucking up Reed's day? No, I guess it was Reed. Nah. I'll kind of abdicate my throne and wear Tony's armor and try and save the world. Reborn, issue dos. We find out more of the situation in the Reborn world. Greg Capullo art is
Gorgeous.
He's Greg Capullo art, so really, you already know. It's just gorgeous. Some of these, him on Greg Capullo Unleashed on this like fantasy landscape is a beautiful thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I just love his facial expressions. I really, really do. Something about his noses and his eyes just make me very happy. So yeah, this is like a Lord of the Rings and the Matrix. We're watching Game of Thrones and The Wizard of Oz, and they had a baby, and it was a great little baby.
That's one freaky orgy.
Die Kitty Die, number 2. As you can see, I commented on its need to make lots of boob puns in the first one. As you can see, even on the cover, most of the issue and this cover, she's just in a bra and panties. She takes on their equivalent of Casper, Dippy the Dead Kid, and instead of the ghostly trio, there's the deadly trio, and they're all determined to kill her. But she calls in help from her other comic book character, little friend, otherwise known as Little Satan. I'm still having mixed emotions on this. I mean, I love Dan Parent and I love his artwork, so that's why I'm here. But sometimes it it alternates between being clever and then trying too hard to be clever. So I'm never 100% certain which way I feel about it, but
More good than bad.
yeah, overall. Next, we're getting a '60s vibe, so we'll ride it out. Raven number 3.
Didn't read it, did you?
No, I did. I'm not remembering most of it. I mean, at this point, she's still in the Feather Raven outfit. She yells Azar a lot. A little shortened version of Azarath. She hangs out with her family a bit. Her human side, not the demon side family. I don't know. She's back to perfectly normal, and for her anyway, in Titans. So I'm really just curious how she got there. Green Lanterns number 11 was the best issue so far. The new guy has the Phantom Ring. He saves the day, but he's not quite what you call stable. So he saves the day, but when the real Green Lanterns, our rookie duo, show up and tell him that they're here to take back the ring that he stole. First, people think he's a hero, and they're like, why are you guys being jerks? And, even Batman's watching them on TV going, don't fight with a fool in front of an audience. Most of them won't know the difference, between who's who. But then the guy kind of freaks out, tells him he's a hero, actually lights on fire, orange fire, because he's jealous of them and the powers they have and the respect that they have. And he says that the power is mine, the ring is mine, and by the end, he is in fact, because this Phantom Ring can wield all the spectrums without you being worthy, so this very unworthy man has just oranged out. A lot of good character moments, a lot of it was the most fun of the issues to that so far. Aquaman number 11. Just as things start to look good for Aquaman with his relationship with the world, the press, and the Justice League, Manta uses Atlantean technology to just go all-out war on various cities while screaming in the name of Atlantis, the deluge sweeps you away, let the surface world burn. So suddenly people are having an even harder time believing that Aquaman's a good guy. Aquaman continues to be one of the best Rebirth titles. All New Wolverine. I love this book. This is All New Wolverine number 14. I love this book. Also, I love this book. This is Tom Taylor.
You love the book?
Nick Varela. Yeah, and I love this book, in case you were wondering. After having been triggered, not the internet way, but the brainwashy, spied way, into killing a whole lot of people, S.H.I.E.L.D. shows up, and Nick Fury Jr., and a very gung-ho little S.H.I.E.L.D. agent who just enjoys being abusive and smacking a very compliant and non-resistive Wolverine in the face, till they realize that S.H.I.E.L.D's like, oh, the real bad guys have gone to Madripoor. We can't go there. It's a sovereign nation. It's an act of war, blah, blah. So Wolverine has to take matters into her own claws and go do this and get away from everybody. But she goes along with Gabby and Jonathan the Wolverine, and now they have a Pelican as well, like you do. And there's a great line that they're getting on board a boat, and she's like, this is an actual pirate ship? And yes. So she's like, does this make us pirates? No. Can I still say R if you have to? R. Can I have a wooden leg? You already have 2 legs. I don't have 2 legs. I don't have to have 2 legs. I have a healing factor and I don't feel pain. You're not cutting your leg off. Arr, you cannot tell me what to cut off, what I can't cut off, you scurvy dog. They're not those kind of pirates. Are you sure? Because she literally has an eye patch. And then the lady with the eye patch, they have a little conversation that ends with the lady with the eye patch saying, that's one way to look at it, but I see things a little differently. And Gabby's like, of course you see things a little differently. You don't have depth perception. And the other two are just looking at her like, seriously? And then the pirate lady's like, oh, I like her. And so do I. Pirate lady, so do I. And Uncanny XMen Annual Number 1, the rebirth. Hey, somebody comes back from the dead. What? A mutant coming back from the dead? I know, it's unheard of, right? But this time it's Elixir. Only it turns out his power is more than he thought. He actually is the balance between life and death. And if he, if he heals or restores the life to, like, one person, it's not that big a deal. But if he does too much, there's a backlash. And if he, like, restores, 20 people to life, then 20 other people are going to die.
Ooh.
Because there's this backlash to his power. So he's got to, kind of find that perfect sweet spot with what he's doing, and not overdo it. And then there's a Domino backup story that may be the first time I've read Domino since like 1990 something. But
didn't you read it recently in something else?
Spider-Man has Venom on the cover. That's the only place you'll see Venom because he's not in Spider-Man. Hey, barely is Spider-Man. Hey, they're not in Spider-Man. This is the adventure of Gunky and Goldballs and the blogger and Miles' dad versus S.H.I.E.L.D. Britannia. Number 3. Demons. Weird women. Weird with a Y. Romans. Betrayals. Murders. Cover-ups. Investigations. Really cool artwork. Mandrake roots. Historical history lesson at the end. Smooching. For the one Valiant book that doesn't seem to be tied into the actual Valiant continuity, it's really good. It feels like it should be an Image book or Avatar Press. Moonshine. Number 2. The big city mob has come out to get Moonshine from in the deep woods. Only it turns out the deep woodsman who brews the moonshine is also he happens to be a lycanthrope, a werewolf. Things get furry and bloody on this day,
Very
and
fast.
It's like The Howling meets Boardwalk Empire. And that's cool. That's cool. Also, that's cool. Payback's number 4. It's over. The paybacks get. Wait for it. Payback. Whatever orange ink they use made me very mad because it's the kind of ink where, look, I've got like a thumbprint from when I was holding it and reading it. And my thumb just like ate through the... Damn it all to hell. But other than my horrible thumbprint, this was a great ending to 2 great series worth of paybacks. Also, at first I was heartbroken. I opened it up and there was no crazy little witty blurbs about the characters on the inside front cover. But that's because on the inside back cover it does a "Where Are They Now?" and says, after the events of this issue, the paybacks went on to become one of the greatest super teams that ever was. They battled evil, saved a few million people, loved, lost, and then, after 15 years or so together, they got kind of bored and all retired. Then what? Well, and you have their 15 years in the future, Harry Potter-esque, glimpse into where everybody is now. Harbinger Renegade. This has just stepped up. I mean, not only do you have the prologue is by Juan Jose Rip, but the main story is by Derek Roberts. Is drawn by Derek Robertson. Not sure who Rafer Roberts is, but I believe he's the author of every part of the book. But this has just become Valiant's. It's everything you loved about Harbinger and Renegades, mixed with not just because of the Derek Robertson art, but there's an obvious dash of the boys, Watchmen. This is like Valiant's like hard outside the box cerebral team. Not that all the characters are cerebral. I'm looking at you, Torque. But yeah, this is, they're not a team yet. Many of them are still reluctant to re-teaming, but I finally know who that is, and it's so good though, so good. When Captain America throws his mighty shit. All right, Sam Wilson, Captain America, D-Day for D-Man. For charity, D-Man steps back in the ring of what was the name of the superhero wrestling league? It was the one that it's Unlimited Class Wrestling, which is the one that D-Man was in. Ben Grimm used to do that wrestling. Armadillo used to do it. All of those. So we have, in an attempt to get them to bury the hatchet, the new Falcon invites Sam and Rage to go wrestling. Apparently, Rage only owns his Rage outfit because everybody else is dressed normal, and no one seems to care that there's a giant shirtless man in black leather, shirtless under a vest and a lucha mask. But whatever. We get a little flashback to the first time D-Man met Battlestar. They're doing it for charity, and of course, the guy who's doing it is actually, the company went bankrupt. He's trying to steal all the money. Nothing's going to charity, so they have to team up to save it. This was a really good issue, not just because, it's a done-in-one, and you've got like so many characters in there, but everybody gets their moment, and it's really good issue for both in the comic continuity and in the real world right now. It's all about coming together. Yeah, people have differences. They think things should be handled a different way, done a different way, but everybody kind of comes together in this to do what's right in the end. And I think and it wasn't heavy-handed. So the world needs more of those kind of stories. Batman, Wonder Woman, Superman, Trinity. So yeah, Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman team up with the girl from the Matrix. Okay, they don't. They team up with the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost. No. So many Trinities. They team up with each other. And they don't know it, but they're inside the Black Mercy.
Oh, fun.
And they're starting to figure out that it's not what they thought. The first issue, they thought they'd gone back in time. But this issue, Bruce is like, this isn't my world. He's like, the details are wrong. Like, young Bruce, after seeing his parents murdered, goes to the counselor, but the counselor is Harleen Quinzel, and Bruce is like, this isn't right. Batman's like, this isn't right. The details are off. That's that shouldn't be the way it is. And we're setting up that while the heroes are fighting off their own subconscious, the end of the issue has Lois driving a big old truck through the barn that's been planted shut because of the Black Mercy that's in, and it looks like we're going to have Lois Lane versus Poison Ivy, because Ivy's got Jonathan while our heroes are all under the spell. It's Ivy in there with and yeah, that's Lois is going to have her get away from him, you bitch moment. And the last book that I read this week is Patsy Walker, a.k.a. Hellcat. because I just love Kate Leth's writing. And the art in this, Brittany L. Williams, so good. Telekinean is not sure if he's keeping that name, and he's also pretty damn sure he's not a sidekick. He ups his game to be a hero, even though it involves his terrifying ex-roommate's jacket. They call Jubilee Jujubee, which made me happy. I've got Jubilee.
She's still a vampire?
Yeah. This book keeps making me happier and happier. Like the fact that right now, Jubilee and her adopted kid are, seem to be long-term supporting cast. There's nothing not to love. This book is fun. It's clever. It's witty. It's charming. It even gets through to this curmudgeon-y old stone heart of mine. It's a beautiful thing. I told you that was the last book I read. What, you thought I was lying? Alright, interrupts. In the immortal words of Tracy Ullman, go home! Go home!
Thanks for watching another video from Gonna Geek. If you like geeky stuff, check out our podcast network, our news and articles, and our community forums. You can find it all at GonnaGeek.com. Like us at Facebook.com/GonnaGeek. Tweet us at GonnaGeek. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at YouTube.com/GonnaGeek. And check out our live programming at GonnaGeek.com/live.